Have you ever found yourself dealing with a work-related illness that just kind of creeps up on you? It's not like a sudden accident, no broken bones from a single slip or anything like that. But it's a condition that develops slowly, maybe over years. Persistent back pain, perhaps, or that numbness in your hands from doing the same thing over and over.
Right.
And you're left thinking, how on earth am I supposed to get support for this? How do I navigate the system? It can feel, well, pretty overwhelming.
It really can, and it's an incredibly common situation for federal employees. A lot of people assume, the process is identical for every single work issue. But for these cumulative conditions, these occupational diseases, there's a very specific path, and honestly, it's often misunderstood.
Okay, so that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're talking about navigating that specific process. Filing a Form CA2. That's the Notice of Occupational Disease.
Correct. Through the ECOMP portal, the Employees' Compensation Operations and Management portal.
All right, ECOMP. And our mission here is really to give you, our listener, a shortcut to being well-informed. We want to help you avoid the common pitfalls, get those benefits, get the medical care you deserve without all the unnecessary hurdles.
Exactly. We'll unpack the tricky parts, maybe share some surprising things that can really make a difference.
Okay, let's jump right in. The very first potential landmine, it sounds like, is something fundamental. Just picking the wrong form. Why is that such a common slip-up?
It absolutely is. And it's a surprisingly frequent reason for claims getting denied right off the bat. Even folks who've been federal employees for a while can make this mistake. They think, okay, work injury, one process fits all.
But it doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
The crucial difference is this. Form CA2 is specifically for occupational diseases, illnesses that develop over time because of your work conditions.
Okay, like carpal tunnel from years of typing.
Exactly. Or hearing loss from being around loud noise day after day. It's that slow buildup.
So CA2 is for the slow burn. What about the sudden stuff?
Right. If your condition comes from a single event or accident, you slip and fall, break your ankle, even if maybe the pain didn't hit you full force immediately, that's a Form CA1. That's for a traumatic injury.
And mixing them up causes problems.
Big problems. Filing the wrong form means it's miscategorized from the start. Huge delays. And it's almost certainly going to be denied because, well, it doesn't fit the definition for that form.
So step one is really understanding your own situation. Is it gradual or from one event? Before you even think about logging into ECOMP.
Precisely. And if you're unsure, seriously, talking to someone who specializes in federal workers' comp before you file can save you so much grief. Getting the right form is the foundation.
Okay, foundation laid. Let's move on. Another thing you mentioned is the narrative statement. Your story. You said simply writing, my job caused my injury, just isn't going to cut it.
Not even close. That's the second pitfall. A sparse or vague narrative. And here's the thing. OWCP isn't just looking for a diagnosis from your doctor. They need your story.
Your story.
Your detailed account of how the work caused the illness. They need to know what specific tasks you did or what you were exposed to. Over what time period did this happen? And why do you believe those work factors are the culprit?
So vague statements get you nowhere.
Right. They lead to questions, delays, maybe even denial. You can't just say, my hands hurt from typing.
Okay, so what does a good narrative look like then? Give us an example.
Okay, so instead of just typing hurts, you'd say something like, I developed carpal tunnel syndrome. I typed maybe 6 to 7 hours a day, 5 days a week for about 10 years. And add context. There wasn't really good ergonomic support.
Okay. Specifics?
Specifics, dates, time frames, describe the conditions, explain how you connected the dots, how you realized it was work-related. Take your time with this. It's your testimony. Make it count.
That leads perfectly into the medical side. It sounds like getting the doctor's report right is more complex than just getting a diagnosis. What does it mean for a doctor's report to, speak OWCP's language?
Yeah, that's pitfall number 3. The medical opinion isn't strong enough, or it doesn't clearly link the condition to the work. The doctor's report, honestly, it's often the single most critical piece of evidence.
More critical than your own story.
It carries huge weight. A common issue is a report that's too wishy-washy. Like, patient has tendinitis, probably work-related.
Probably isn't good enough.
Not for OWCP. They need a well-supported medical rationale. The doctor needs to explain how and why, in their medical opinion, the work caused the condition.
So the doctor isn't just diagnosing, they're playing detective, connecting the work to the illness.
Exactly. They need to provide that detailed medical narrative. It should have that explicit causal link, something like, in my medical opinion, condition X is a result of work activity Y over Z, period. That's the kind of language OWCP looks for.
What if your doctor isn't used to these kinds of claims?
That can be tough. If your doctor seems hesitant or just unfamiliar, you might seriously consider getting a second opinion from a physician who is experienced with federal workers' comp. A clear, specific medical narrative is it's absolutely crucial.
Okay, so we've got the right form, a detailed story from you, and a strong doctor's note making the connection. What else needs to go in the package? Are people tempted to just send the form first?
That happens all the time, and it's pitfall number 4, not submitting everything together up front. Now, technically, ECOMP lets you file the CA2 and add documents later, but OWCP won't actually approve the claim until they have your narrative and that crucial doctor's report. So filing the form alone, it just builds in delays. OWCP sends a letter, hey, we need more info, and suddenly weeks, maybe months, get added to the process.
So best practice. Treat it like a complete package deal from the start.
Exactly. Your CA2 form, your detailed narrative, your doctor's report, think of them as one unit. Upload everything together when you file the CA2 in ECOMP.
What if you're waiting on, say, the doctor's final report?
Good question. If something's genuinely missing temporarily, make a note of it when you file. Say, awaiting specialist report, expected by date, will upload immediately upon receipt. Then follow through ASAP. But aim for completeness from the get-go.
It really sounds like the details matter, even small things.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings us neatly to pitfall number 5. Missing or just plain incorrect information on the form itself. Simple typos can cause big headaches.
Like what kind of typos?
Your social security number, get one digit wrong and everything stalls. Zip code errors. Getting dates confused is another big one.
Confused how?
Like mixing up the date you first noticed symptoms versus the date you realized, hey, this is probably because of my job. Those can be 2 different dates. Or forgetting to change default fields, like maybe ECOMP defaults dependents to none, but you have dependents. You got to catch that.
And OWCP is checking for consistency between all these documents, right? The form, the narrative, the medical report.
They absolutely are. They'll compare dates and facts. If things don't line up, it raises red flags, causes delays while they ask for clarification. So, the solution: fill out every relevant field carefully. Double-check numbers, dates. Make sure your story is consistent across all the paperwork before you hit submit.
Okay, let's talk timing. You mentioned there isn't that strict 30-day deadline like for a traumatic injury, a CA1. But timeliness still matters for a CA2, right?
It does. That's pitfall number 6, filing too late without a good explanation. Now, under the rules, FECA, the Federal Employees Compensation Act, you generally have 3 years to file an occupational disease claim.
3 years from when?
From the date you were aware of the condition and aware that it was related to your work, both things.
Okay.
However, waiting a long time after you realize it's work-related, especially if you don't explain why you waited, can make OWCP question things, like, was it really that serious?
Yeah.
And if you go past the 3 years without a valid reason, your claim could be completely barred.
So even with a 3-year window, sooner is better.
Definitely. File as soon as you recognize the connection to your work. And critically, if you are filing more than 30 days after you realized it was work-related, you must explain the delay. Item 15 on the CA2 form is specifically for this.
What are valid reasons?
Things like, I was waiting for a specialist report, or I wasn't aware of the OWCP process initially, or maybe the symptoms were minor at first and I didn't immediately connect them to work. Being upfront about the delay is key. Don't just leave it blank.
Okay, you've done all that. You've gathered everything, checked it twice, hit submit in ECOMP. You might think, whoo, done. But not quite right.
Not quite. That's pitfall number 7. Delays on the supervisor or agency side after you've filed. See, once you submit, ECOMP sends a notification to your supervisor or whoever your agency designates. They have to complete their section of the form.
And sometimes they don't.
Sometimes they sit on it, or they're busy, it falls through the cracks, they slow walk it. Whatever the reason, if they don't do their part, your claim just stalls. It doesn't even get to OWCP for review.
So you need to keep tabs on it even after you submit. What's the fix?
Follow up. Politely, professionally, but follow up with your supervisor quickly. Maybe a day or 2 after you submit. Hey, just wanted to make sure you saw the ECOMP notification for my CA2. Ask them to please complete their part.
And if they still drag their feet?
Then you escalate. Talk to your agency's injury compensation specialist. They usually have one, or contact your union rep if you have one. They can often help nudge things along. Don't let your claim die in somebody else's inbox.
We talked about the narrative needing detail. What about describing exposure? Like, if your job involves chemicals or noise, is exposed to chemicals good enough?
Usually not. That's pitfall number 8, an insufficient description of your exposure levels. Many CA2s involve hazardous conditions, repetitive motions, noise, chemicals, etc. Just saying exposed to loud noise or handled chemicals is often too vague for OWCP to establish that crucial link.
They need more concrete information.
Exactly. They need specifics to understand the level and duration of exposure. Quantify it if you can.
How would you quantify noise, for example?
Instead of loud noise, try. Exposed to jet engine noise estimated around 100 decibels for about 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And add context. Hearing protection wasn't provided or wasn't adequate, maybe mentioned for the past 3 years.
What about chemicals?
Same idea. Specify the type if you know it. Handled industrial solvents, including xylene and acetone, for roughly 4 hours daily in a poorly ventilated area. If there were ever workplace measurements or safety reports about the exposure, mention those too. The more specific, the better. Paint a clear picture of your work environment.
Okay, this next one feels really important. What happens after OWCP gets the claim? Do they just approve or deny it?
Rarely is it that simple, especially with occupational diseases. This leads to pitfall number 9, ignoring requests from OWCP for more information. It's actually very common for the OWCP claims examiner reviewing your file to send you a letter.
A letter asking for what?
More details. Often, they need more medical rationale. Maybe your doctor's report wasn't quite specific enough on causation, or they need clarification on your work duties or exposure levels. They'll send what's called a development letter.
And the pitfall is just not responding.
Or not responding fully or missing the deadline. They usually give you 30 days. If you blow it off or send back something incomplete, your claim is almost guaranteed to be denied. They'll likely deny it for abandonment or insufficient evidence.
So any mail from OWCP is critical.
Absolutely critical. Take any correspondence from them seriously. Read it carefully. Understand what they're asking for. Mark the deadline on your calendar.
What if you need more time to get what they need? Like another doctor's visit.
Ask for an extension before the deadline passes. They'll often grant reasonable requests. But the key is proactive communication. Provide exactly what they ask for, clearly and thoroughly. Don't make the examiner guess. Responding properly is often the final hurdle to getting approved.
Okay, last pitfall. This one sounds basic, but I can see how it happens.
It's pitfall number 10, not keeping your own personal copies of everything. It's easy to think, well, I uploaded it all to ECOMP, it's safe in the system.
But maybe it's not.
Systems can have glitches, things can get lost, or maybe you need quick access later, perhaps, to check what you submitted if there's a question, or if you need to file an appeal down the road. If you don't have your own copies, you're relying entirely on the system, and, well, that can be risky.
So the digital submission isn't a replacement for your own records?
Not really. It's just good practice. Maintain a complete file at home, physical or digital, whatever works for you. Save PDFs of the submitted CA2, your narrative, every medical report, every letter from OWCP, every response you send.
What about phone calls?
Keep a log. Date, who you spoke with, brief summary of the conversation. These records are your safety net. They protect you if there are disputes, and they make it way easier if you eventually need help from a representative. It's your proof.
Okay, that's a lot of what not to do. Let's pivot. Now that we know the traps, let's walk through the right way to file that CA2 step by step, reinforcing how to avoid those pitfalls.
Sounds good. So action number 1, as we said, is confirm CA2 is the correct form. Is it something that developed over time due to work? Like carpal tunnel? Yes. Okay, CA2 it is. If it was a slip and fall, that's CA1. Get this right first.
Right. Form first. What's next? Talk to your boss.
Yes. Notify your supervisor early. Even though these occupational claims usually don't involve immediate benefits like continuation of pay, it's smart to inform your supervisor, and writing an email is good, that you believe you have a work-related illness and you plan to file a claim. It creates a record.
Okay, notification sent. Then it's prep time.
Absolutely. Gather all your necessary information and documents before you log into ECOMP. Your personal details, your job info grade, step, maybe from SF50, the illness specifics. When did you first notice it? When did you realize it was work-related?
And have that narrative and doctor's report ready too.
Yes, have your drafted narrative statement and any doctor's reports you already have. Having all this ready makes filling out the form smoother and less prone to errors. You're not scrambling.
You mentioned something about an OSHA form earlier.
Right. Check for the OSHA 301 requirement. Some agencies, like the Postal Service or TSA, require you to fill out this separate incident report first. ECOMP will actually tell you if it's needed for your agency when you start the claim. If it is, do that OSHA form first, then ECOMP lets you move to the CA2.
Got it. Okay, prep done. Now it's ECOM time.
Yep. Register for ECOMP and log in. Go to ecomp.udl.gov. If you don't have an account, create one. Verify your email. Once you're in, you'll see your employee dashboard.
And find the right button to click.
Correct. Start a new claim and select CA2. Look for new claim or similar, then choose Form CA2 occupational disease or illness. Make sure you select your correct employing agency and duty station. That's important for writing.
Now we're actually in the form. Items 1 through 10, the basic info. What's key here?
Meticulous accuracy. Fill in employee information. CA2, items 110. Full legal name. Double-check that social security number. Date of birth, your grade and step around the time of exposure, home address. Check that dependents field. Change it from none if needed. Your job title, where you work. Just review it all for typos, seriously.
Okay, basics covered, then the illness details, items 11 to 14.
Right, enter illness details. CA2, items 11-14. Item 11, date you first noticed symptoms. Item 12, date you first realized it was likely work-related, could be the same day, could be later. Item 13, a brief, maybe 1 or 2 sentence explanation tying it to work. Make sure it matches your longer narrative. Item 14, nature of the disease, use medical terms if you can, list specific body parts. Consistency is key here across all your documents.
And here comes the really crucial part for avoiding delays, the attachments.
Exactly. Address filing timeliness and attach supporting documents. Items 15-17. If you're filing more than 30 days after realizing it was work-related, explain why in item 15. Then, critically, in the supporting documentation section, upload your detailed narrative statement and your doctor's medical report right then and there. Don't wait. This prevents major delays.
Okay, documents attached, almost done.
Almost. Sign and submit. Item 18, employee certification. Read the certification statement, check the box, type your name as your electronic signature, give everything one final review on the screen, then hit submit.
Click submitted. But wait, there's more.
Definitely. First, note your claim confirmation and save copies. ECOMP gives you a tracking number or claim ID. Save that number. And save a PDF of the submitted form and everything you uploaded. Start that personal file we talked about.
Then follow up on the agency side.
Yes. Regarding supervisor agency action follow-up, remember, your supervisor has to do their part. Contact them in a day or two. Confirm they got the ECOMP notice. Gently ask them to complete their section. If it stalls, escalate to your agency comp specialist or union rep.
And then it's wait and watch.
Sort of an active waiting. Track your claim status in OWCP processing. Log into ECOMP periodically. And be ready to respond promptly to any OWCP requests for more info. Remember that 30-day deadline. Upload responses via ECOMP. Don't ignore their letters.
And keep adding to that personal file.
Always. Keep copies and stay organized. Every letter, every response, every medical update, add it to your file. Keep notes of calls. Good records are your best friend through this whole process. Following these steps really sets your claim up for success.
That detailed walkthrough is super helpful. But sometimes seeing how these pitfalls play out in real life and how they get fixed really drives the point home. Can you share an example?
Sure. Let's talk about John, a postal worker. He developed really bad shoulder tendonitis, from years and years of lifting heavy mail bags, sorting mail, repetitive stuff.
Okay.
His doctor confirmed it was likely work-related. But John wasn't sure what to do, felt a sharp pain one day, and just quickly filed a CA1, the form for traumatic injuries.
So pitfall number 1 right there, wrong form, even though the problem developed over years.
Exactly. And predictably, OWCP denied it. The reason: no specific traumatic incident reported to justify a CA1, and his paperwork didn't really describe an occupational disease process. He was stuck.
So what did he do?
He got help from a specialist group. They immediately saw the issue. He needed a CA2 for cumulative trauma, not a CA1.
Makes sense.
So they helped him start over with the correct form. They worked with him to write a really detailed narrative describing his daily tasks, the lifting, the sorting over his 15-year career. And they made sure his doctor's report explicitly linked the tendinitis to those specific duties.
And the outcome?
With the correct CA2 and that strong supporting evidence, his claim was accepted when they asked for reconsideration. He got the wage loss benefits and the medical treatment he needed, all because they fixed that initial form error and provided the right kind of documentation.
That's a great example of correcting the form issue. What about a case where the evidence was the main problem initially?
Okay, let's consider Susan. She was a TSA officer, worked for about 10 years near noisy airport areas, jet engines, alarm systems, that kind of thing. She started noticing hearing loss.
Okay, sounds like a classic occupational exposure.
It does. She filed a CA2 on her own, but her narrative statement, it was literally one sentence. I have hearing loss from loud noise at work. That was it.
Oh, wow. That's pitfall number 2, sparse narrative, and probably number 8, too, insufficient description of exposure.
Exactly. And she hadn't seen an audiologist yet, so she didn't attach any medical report linking the hearing loss to her job. Pitfall 3, lack of medical opinion.
So denied.
Denied. OWCP cited insufficient medical evidence and lack of detail about her noise exposure. Susan didn't know what to do next, so she also sought expert help.
How do they tackle it?
First, they got her to an audiologist who understood OWCP claims. The audiologist provided a detailed report, not just diagnosing the hearing loss, but explaining how the pattern of her hearing loss was consistent with occupational noise exposure.
That causal link again.
Precisely. And they helped Susan completely rewrite her narrative. It went from one sentence to a detailed account describing the average noise level she experienced, how many hours per week, the fact that hearing protection wasn't always available or effective, real specifics.
And then they appealed the denial.
Yes. With that new comprehensive package, strong medical report, detailed narrative, they filed an appeal. And this time, OWCP reversed the denial. Susan's claim was accepted, and she got coverage for hearing aids and ongoing care. The detailed evidence made all the difference.
Those really highlight the form and evidence pitfalls. What about that supervisor delay we talked about? Any stories there?
Yeah. Let's look at Michael. He was a nurse at a VA hospital, developed chronic back pain after years of, lifting and moving patients. Definitely sounds work-related.
Seems clear.
He did everything right on his end, filed the CA2 through ECOMP, wrote a great narrative, got a strong doctor's report connecting the back pain to his duties, submitted it all.
Okay, sounds perfect so far.
But then, nothing. Weeks went by, he checked ECOMP, and the status was just stuck on submitted to agency. It hadn't even gone to OWCP yet.
The supervisor bottleneck. Pitfall number 7.
Exactly. Michael eventually found out his supervisor had been assigned a lot of new duties, was totally swamped, and just hadn't gotten around to reviewing and completing their part of the ECOMP process, so the claim was just sitting there.
So what was the solution for Michael?
He was advised to be proactive. First, he followed up directly with the supervisor, politely explaining the situation and the delay. When that didn't yield immediate results, he escalated to his VA facility's injury compensation specialist. That person was able to step in, talk to the supervisor, explain the importance, and ensure the agency portion got completed and submitted.
So persistence paid off.
It did. Because Michael didn't just wait passively, his claim finally got transmitted to OWCP, it was eventually accepted, and he could finally access the specialized back treatment he needed. It shows that sometimes you have to actively manage the process even after you hit submit.
These stories really drive home a crucial point. This system is complex, and you really don't have to figure it all out alone. It seems like getting the right kind of help can be a game changer.
It absolutely can be. Trying to navigate OWCP, especially with an occupational disease claim, can feel like trying to solve a maze blindfolded. Getting help from professionals who specialize in federal workers' comp claims, it's like having a guide who knows every single turn, every potential trap.
Because they know the rules, the FECA regulations, what OWCP is actually looking for.
Precisely. They live and breathe this stuff, so they can help prevent all those pitfalls we've been talking about.
How specifically? Like, what does that help look like?
Well, right from the start, they help make sure you're choosing the correct form. Is it really a CA2 situation or maybe a CA1? They guide you through ECOMP step by step, looking over your shoulder, virtually speaking, to catch typos, inconsistencies, missed fields before you submit.
And that critical narrative and medical report.
Huge help there. They're skilled at crafting a strong narrative. They'll interview you, pull out all the important details about your job, your symptoms, the timeline, and help phrase it in a way that's clear and compelling for OWCP. And they often work closely with DOL-credentialed physicians who get it. Get what OWCP needs. These doctors know how to write those detailed medical reports with the magic words, that explicit causal link language, tying the condition directly to the work duties. They make sure the medical evidence speaks OWCP's language.
So it's like a quality control check before anything even goes to OWCP.
Exactly. A thorough pre-submission review. They check everything for consistency, completeness, making sure it presents the strongest possible case before it's filed. They can assist with the actual filing and follow-up, help you track the status, even give you a heads up to gently nudge your supervisor if needed.
What about if OWCP does come back, asking for more info? Or if, despite best efforts, the claim gets denied initially?
That's often where they're most valuable. They can respond to OWCP requests effectively because they understand exactly what the examiner is looking for. They help craft those responses. And if there is a denial, they can help with reconsideration requests or appeals, often resolving things without needing lawyers or formal hearings.
It sounds like they basically take the burden off the employee.
That's a huge part of it. It's like a white glove service. They handle the paperwork, the deadlines, the communication, often even the billing directly with OWCP. It frees you up to focus on what actually matters, getting better instead of wrestling with bureaucracy. It significantly reduces stress and the chance of making a mistake that could jeopardize your benefits.
Okay, so wrapping this up, filing a CA2 claim for an occupational illness, something that developed over time, it can definitely feel daunting. There are quite a few places to stumble.
There are, but as we've seen, with thorough preparation, really paying attention to the details, being proactive in responding, and, importantly, knowing when maybe it's time to get some expert guidance, you can navigate ECOMP and OWCP successfully.
It really boils down to providing that detailed, accurate, and ultimately compelling information, doesn't it?
It does. And just remembering, you really don't have to tackle this whole complex process on your own. There are resources, there are experts out there who can guide you step by step. It makes something that seems overwhelming feel much more manageable.
So, here's something to think about. In this world full of complex procedures, maybe information overload sometimes, isn't the most empowering knowledge just knowing when and where to find the right kind of expert support? That small detail you overlook or that piece of advice you didn't get could genuinely be the thing standing between you and the healing or financial support you need. When it comes to your health and your work, are you truly prepared for the unexpected?